So let's start with said rapists and cheaters and
Yes.
liars. Dude, what was Manfred thinking? Reinstating Pete Rose. He had a lifetime ban. He was on the permanently ineligible list. So let me read what Mr. Rob Manfred had to say. Obviously, a person no longer with us cannot represent a threat to the integrity of the game, Manfred wrote in a letter to Attorney General F. Menlenkoff, who petitioned for Rose's removal from the list January 8th. Moreover, it is hard to conceive of a penalty that has more deterrent effect than one that lasts a lifetime with no reprieve. Therefore, I have concluded that permanent ineligibility ends upon the passing of the disciplined individual, and Mr. Rose will be removed from the permanently ineligible list. But here's the problem. Permanently ineligible and lifetime mean two different things. Permanent is something from the beginning to the end of time, not lifetime. David, please give me your thoughts.
The thoughts on this, man, I have so many different thoughts on it. And I think my thoughts sometimes get convoluted between what Rob Manfred did and Hall of Fame. And sometimes I get caught in between and I think they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. They're not. Reading his ban in baseball, it did say lifetime ban. It should have been a lifetime ban. The moment he dies that day, it's lifted.
But he was on the permanently ineligible list.
But that to me sometimes is a name versus what the ban was. The ban was meant to be a lifetime ban. And permanently ineligible means like you're permanently, once you can't play anymore, you're no longer ineligible, you can't play. Like it's done. It's over. Like the ineligibility of Pete Rose should be done. So I have a weird statement on this. I am completely against it. I don't think Rob Manfred should have ever done it. I don't have to like it, but I can understand why he did it. I understand the lifetime ban. He's dead. It's over. I don't understand why so many different commissioners, though, thought completely opposite of this. So many different commissioners, especially since Shoeless Joe, Joe Jackson and that whole the Black Sox scandal were all lifetime bans as well. And they never, no commissioner of baseball ever felt differently until Rob Manfred. Rob Manfred, obviously a lot of press, a lot of push, a lot of pressure. There's been more pressure now than ever to reinstate Pete Rose. A little less on Joe Jackson. I don't think there's a whole lot of people out there fighting for Joe Jackson, but the Pete Rose controversy has been pushed so much by social media. Obviously, his family's been pushing hard. The Reds started to be pushing hard, and I think I think it had a lot more to do with a push from Major League Baseball to try to get some publicity, try to get some notoriety, something in the middle of the season. Season's going great, but to get something will fire it up. I'm amazed this didn't happen like in the off season, just to get some more attention to Major League Baseball. I don't have to like it. I don't agree with it. At the same time, I do need to separate Hall of Fame versus the ban. I do not think he should ever walk down the hall, like have his moment to shine in the Hall of Fame. Lifetime ban. It's just sad.
Okay, so here's the deal. First of all, I don't think this had anything to do with getting a little bit of notoriety for Major League Baseball. I think there's only one person to blame for this debacle, and his name is Donald Trump. Okay, you and I both know that Donald Trump is the type of person that will be petty and put something over your head. Are you telling me that the words antitrust didn't have anything to do in the conversation that Manfred had?
Never even brought up. I guarantee you this is exactly what happens with Donald Trump. He says something, hey, like I don't think he should be banned. There was so much pressure to begin with, and he goes, hey, I don't think he should be banned. And then it gets taken into become a big monster deal. Manfred wanted to. Manfred has tried extremely hard. No. He has tried extremely hard to get him in the Hall of Fame. He tried extremely hard in 2015. He gave Pete Rose every single crumb on the ground, laid it out for him to get reinstated. He laid out the entire groundwork and said, just say sorry, admit Say sorry. And say I gambled. And he laid it out, and Pete Rose still lied. So there was no reason Rob Manfred should have ever had that meeting with Pete Rose. It was uncalled for, wasn't needed. Rob Manfred is a Pete Rose wanting to get him reinstated guy. He has been from the moment he took office. That was one of his first things he did, was meet with Pete Rose. He's been wanting to get him reinstated since the moment he became commissioner. And this is the first thing he had to actually be able to do it, because Pete Rose completely failed when he was alive. Failed miserably and lied to Manfred's face. And when he lied to Manfred's face, Manfred had to keep him banned. Manfred wanted him reinstated. Let's not forget that. Let's stop. There's no, if we take all the other pressure away from this, Manfred is basically the first thing he did was meet with Pete Rose. So let's stop. He's a Pete Rose reinstatement guy. And then when you read every single comment about this, it's lifetime ban. It was a lifetime ban. Well, he's alive. There's nothing he can do. Just because the president is a Pete Rose also reinstated guy had nothing to do with it. The family is a Pete Rose. It had nothing to do with too that the Reds today was honoring Pete Rose. Oh, that just randomly happened. So they were going to allow that to happen without the commissioner of the league, without already having something planned. He had already just randomly. The Reds are having a Pete Rose day. The day before, a couple days before, Manfred just got pressure from the president, so he bent. No, that was planned months and months and months ago. This has been planned. The moment he died, he knew this was walking up. This was happening. And it didn't matter who said, if Donald Trump said, don't ever do it, he would have still done it. It doesn't matter. And I guarantee you, there's nothing to do with antitrust. Nothing to do with it. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It had straight up to do with Rob Manfred always wanted him reinstated. The family put pressure on him. The Reds put pressure on him. I guarantee you there's so much pressure from every single gambling site that is investing in Major League Baseball that is real pressure. And it was happening no matter what, no matter who was going to happen. And it doesn't just randomly happen right before you're already having a Pete Rose day.
When the president pardons you and basically tells the commissioner, hey, I want him to be eligible for the Hall of Fame, that's what ended up happening.
No, it was already done. Okay. It was already done.
Listen, we can agree to disagree. We'll never know the truth.
It was so far past that it was already done. It was going to happen no matter what. And whether there's pressure from Trump or not, it was going to happen. Right. And because Manfred has been made this a big point of his entire thing. You don't meet with Pete Rose like the first year of you taking over the job and basically say, all right, just admit and say you're sorry. And Pete Rose said, no, fuck you. That's it. Okay. That's what happened. So he's nudging him. It's like Major League Baseball when they went to steroid testing and they were testing everybody and they're like, guys, next year, if you don't pass the test, we're going to have testing. And guys are still idiots and still took steroids.
So what's worse?
They told them it was going to happen. And the Pete Rose is still the idiot.
So what's worse? Is it worse to be pressured by the president, if that happened? Or is it worse having Pete Rose basically, like you said, say, fuck you, I'm going to do it my way anyway, and then caving? What looks worse? It's
worse. The first one's worse. He's still caving. To me, that's the thing about it. He's wanted nothing more than to get him and reinstated. And he's stating it, and every single basically thing he did was a statement saying, cool, now he's dead, I can do this. Well, and that's the thing about it. Is when you are he's been a Pete Rose guy the whole time, and now he had an opportunity to be a Pete Rose guy. That's all he did.
I've never been more disappointed and more dismayed with Major League Baseball after this decision. I think
though, it doesn't mean anything with Major League. It doesn't mean anything with Cooperstown. This doesn't mean anything outside of they can have a
No, it
conversation.
doesn't. But I'm just pissed off with Major League Baseball taking him off the permanently ineligible list because it's stupid. There was no reason for it. The guy was a
Yeah.
liar. He was a cheat, and he doesn't deserve anything. He deserves his spot in hell where he is right now.
It's
If there is
statutory
hell.
rape. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, and that's what I
rape.
want to say next is, and for you people that sit there and say, oh, he should be in the Hall of Fame, then I guess you have no problem that OJ's in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose raped a girl under the age of 16 when he was 30 and had 2 children. Okay? So for you guys that are sitting there saying, oh, he should be in the Hall of Fame, take a good look in the mirror, because what you're saying is it's more important to be a good baseball player than to be a good human being. And that is absurd to me. So all you voters, take a look in the mirror and you decide. Now, on the flip side, the guy that we haven't spoken about nearly enough is Shoeless Joe Jackson. He was reinstated. But my question is, does he belong in the Hall? Because I was looking at his numbers, and it's not exactly like he's got these stellar numbers. He was in the league for 13 years. He had only 54 home runs. Granted, completely different era. I understand that. But, you know, he did bat 356, fantastic. Had an OPS lifetime of 940, amazing. All that stuff is really good. But you look at RBI, 792, stolen bases, 202, 1,772 hits. And it's not like he had a short career. He had a pretty long career. So my question to you right now, David, is Shoeless Joe Jackson a Hall of Fame player?
I'll just throw this out there. Todd Helton, Hall of Fame player.
Yes.
He had more WAR. Dennis Eckersley, more. I'm trying to go some of these guys again. I'm not like sitting here live on WAR for my whole life, but Harmon Killebrew. We were talking about him last week, right?
Yeah.
Ichiro. He's a higher than Ichiro. Yogi Berra, higher than Yogi Berra, right? Vladdy, like Piazza. And so when you start getting down the list now, again, there's guys also not in the Hall of Fame that are above him, right, as well, and some guys that are like even Freddie Freeman, Andrew Jones, CC now is in, but he's just above him by like 0.1. So if you go down to that point, yes, there's some. He had MVP 4, MVP 9, MVP 2, MVP 5. Obviously, the Black Sox scandal kind of like killed him, but he had a career batting average of 356, a 940 career OPS, which is pretty damn good in any era of baseball, with only 54 home runs. That's pretty amazing. Was not an RBI machine, had 90 and 121 one year. God, he had 121 with 20 20 triples and hit 382 his last year of his career.
That guy was a great baseball player,
Dude,
no question.
I'm
looking at the numbers. He doesn't have the gaudy numbers, but yes, the WAR is correct. But it's so hard for us to judge guys in the 1900s because they just don't have that stuff. So that's really the reason I asked you. If I was going to, vote, I would put him in the Hall of Fame. I think he was that good of a player, and I think he got robbed of at least 6 or 7 years of his prime. He's the kind of player that could have played 20 years. I mean,
yeah, and he still won the 17 World Series, and obviously his teammates threw the 19. Which that's the thing about it is, and when you go to him, we know the story. He took the money, but he still had like something like he still hit something ridiculous in
370 or something.
Yeah, 370 in the World Series. Like he by far did not throw it. But again, you take the money. And some of these people were found guilty because they knew other guys were doing it. And it's just when you get to like some of the numbers, like it's pretty amazing what he did against his competition. To me, he's a Hall of Famer if he's there, like if he has an opportunity and they actually have a chance. Yeah, the betting on it, to me, like it doesn't matter. Like you took the money. No matter what pressure was going on, you took the money. You didn't say, hey, my teammates are taking the money. There's other problems there that just, to me, I can't get past.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I will give him a little bit of a pass for taking the money based on the way baseball was set up at the time where, you couldn't leave the team. There was no free agency. and the White Sox weren't paying anybody, and they were notorious for being terrible to their players. So I can kind of understand, because it was in a way indentured servitude. If you wanted to play, you were playing for that team or you weren't playing at all.
Yeah.
So
there's no line for me. If you took money, if you gambled, if you did anything to question the gambling side of the game, there's no line for me. Like, it's over. Like,
I know. When there's no union and you're basically used and you can't do anything, there's no way for you to make more money, even when you are that great.
And that's a sacrifice you make.
Yeah, I understand. Listen, like I said, that's the only reason why I'm willing to give him a pass. But, if he was cleared, I mean, I'd put him in 10 times before I even consider putting in Pete Rose. That's just me.
100%.
Yeah. So for you people that want Pete Rose, look yourself in the mirror and try to remember, are you a good human being or not? Because that's what we're talking about, whether or not you want a good human being in or out of the hall, because he's not a good human being, never was, never will be. And right now he's probably waiting for Lenny Dykstra to come down there and be his roommate in hell. So,
did you know this is crazy? He only played in 2 postseasons.
Who's that? Pete Rose?
No, Joe Jackson.
Shoeless Joe? Joe
Jackson hit 375 with a 950 OPS, 6 RBIs, 1 home run, 3 doubles. I guess they only played the World Series back then, so I guess he only played in 2 World Series.
Yeah, you just win the pennant. That's it. There was no wild card. There was no division.
He had a much better World Series than he even had in 2017 when they won the World Series. Yep. So, and they lost, by the way, 3-5 in the World Series, in case you were wondering.
I actually knew that.